Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Tanu Ganesh and you're watching My Win. Our Indian government has introduced three farmer bills in September 2020 with a lot of hopes and promises. But still the farmer feels that these are anti-farmer and corporate friendly. Why is the gap? Let's see. So let's begin from the beginning. It started post independence when India was facing a lot of food shortages. To cope the situation, Indian government introduced Green Revolution in the 1960s. During Green Revolution, it was important for the government to keep the farmers motivated to do bulk production. They wanted the farmers to adopt latest technologies to be able to optimally utilize all the resources, thus enhancing the production. In the year 1965, the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare India, which is Krishi or Kisan Kalyan Mantralay Bharat, introduced an attached office to them called Agriculture Costs and Prices, known as ACP. In the year 1966-67, ACP recommended MSP to the Indian government for the first time. MSP, which is minimum support price, also called as Nyunatam Samarthan Mulya. For the first time, it was recommended for only one crop, that is wheat. As the name suggests, MSP is the minimum price to be paid to the farmers against their agricultural products. Why is MSP important for the farmers? It ensures the cost of production for these farmers for the agricultural products that they are producing, irrespective of any fall in the market prices of these products. Who sets the MSP? MSP is set by the Government of India at the time of sowing season of these crops, basis the recommendations they receive from ACP. The body is now called as CACP, which is the Committee of Agricultural Costs and Prices. In the year 1985, the name of ACP was changed to CACP. CACP recommends MSP every time basis the data received from state governments and other concerned bodies. Post data collection, CACP submits their findings to CCEA, which is Cabinet Committee of Economic Affairs, for their final decision. And the final decision of CCEA is then brought to public by CACP. The three cost factors that CACP considers while calculating the MSP are A2, FL, and C2. A2 here indicates the day-to-day costs like cost of fuel, machinery, irrigation costs, and so on. Here FL stands for family labor. So the contribution of the family members of the farmers or other known members of the farmer in terms of labor is FL. In all three, C2 is the most important factor. It is the comprehensive end-to-end cost. Along with day-to-day costs and family labor, C2 includes the cost of rent or interest for land or machinery owned by farmers. So it gives a complete picture and is very important to be considered. So in an ideal state for calculating MSP, CACP considers the formula as C2 plus 50%, which is 1.5 times of C2. So it covers the cost of production plus there is an additional margin for the farmers. Initially, MSP started, as I shared, for only one crop, but right now it covers 23 crops. There are 7 cereals included, 7 oil seeds, 5 pulses, and 4 commercial crops. Now, you must be thinking that everything sounds well taken care. Then, what's the problem and why is there a problem? From the year 1965 till date, it's been 55 years that MSP came into existence. But the biggest flaw is that it is not a legal bill so far, which means it has not been enforced by the Indian government as a law in their system till date. which means that the farmers cannot legally bound their buyers to pay the price as per MSP. As a result, as a consequence, what's happening is that MSP is being followed only when the farmers are directly dealing with the government bodies. In case of other buyers or other bodies, MSP need not necessarily be followed. On top of it, the Indian government is unable to procure entire production from the farmers. As per a survey, only 10% of the Indian farmers are able to sell their crops at MSP, which means the effectiveness or the impact that we were expecting MSP to make, it is far behind so far. I feel this flaw has been the biggest cause of mistrust of the farmers. Legalizing MSP has been pending for 55 years with the Indian government. But an important fact here is that the current ruling party alone is not responsible for this mess. The governments have known that the farmers have been in favor of MSP. Still, in last 55 years, there has only been 10% implementation of MSP so far. So obviously it gives farmers a solid reason to not believe the government of their promises of returns or the farmer welfare via the three new bills that they have introduced in September 2020. Now understand that without fixing the current issue, the government has introduced the three new bills which will completely change the current setup. The new setup is again creating a fear of the unknown amongst the farmers. Now let's take a quick look at the details of these three bills. These three bills have been introduced by the Government of India and signed by the President of India in September 2020. The first farmer bill is Farmers Produce, Trade and Commerce Act 2020, also called as Kisan Utpadan, Vyapar or Vanijya Adhiniyam. So what does it say? Till now, the trade of farmers' produce was restricted to APMC markets through middlemen or to the customers directly. Now, this law expands the trade area to any setup which allows the production or collection of the farmers' produce, like the warehouses, cold storages, factory premises, or the farm gates. The second feature brings in electronic trading, which means online selling and buying of the farmers' produce through internet applications and electronic devices. I feel this is a good and a progressive move, but at the same time, it may be making the farmers a little uncomfortable. I feel a better way to introduce this change could have been if the government spokes could have reached out to these farmer communities in the beginning of the year and would have spoken to them about this and offering trainings to them with demo transactions to make them familiar and comfortable with these applications or electronic devices. It would have helped take away the farmers' hitch of using the electronic platform for trading their produce. Also, the entire change in this case then would have not come to them as a shock. So, an year before bringing in the law, the changes in the pipeline should have been discussed and introduced to the village panchayats. It would have helped the government earn the interest of the farmers and the entire community. And of course, they would not have felt that this is being something planned and being executed at their back, but they all are a part to the decision. Such an approach would have definitely made the farmers feel secured and confident about the changes and not feel threatened about the changes like they are now. The third feature is that this law prohibits the government from levying any cess or tax on under the APMC Act or any other state act on any farmer, trader, any electronic transaction or platform. It will ensure a smooth interstate and intrastate trading. I feel okay and fine about the first and the third feature. I don't see a problem as such. The fourth feature says In case a dispute occurs between the trading parties, the decision making authority will be the sub-divisional magistrate. Now, understand, in these disputes, one party is the farmer, the other party will not be a common man, it will somehow be a corporate or an industrialist. This again leads to fear in the minds of farmers of not being probably at the same level. Again, the decision making authority is not somebody within the reach of the farmers. They don't see a familiar face here. So, this gives them all the more reason of being worried and fearful of being exploited. Instead, in the decision making authority, there should be somebody with whom the farmers feel safe and familiar. So, the enforcement of this law will open the sale and marketing of the farmers' produce outside the current setup of APMCs. Now, understand what is APMC. APMC is Agriculture Produce Market Committee, which is the Krishi Upaj Bazar Samiti, also called as Samiti Bazars. These APMCs are set up by the state governments in India. So, in an APMC setup, how does it work? The farmers bring their produce to a market area and they are able to sell it through an auction. So, there are middlemen who will place the bids for the produce being brought by the farmers, and the farmers can sell it to the person placing the highest bid. These middlemen are called artis, and with time, these have found a way in their favor. A lot of times, what they practice is that they place a common bid for the produce, leaving hardly multiple options for the farmer to choose from. This entire setup was introduced with a motive to minimize the exploitation of farmers by the intermediaries like money lenders, who actually were compelling the farmers to sell their produce at the least possible price. Now, with the introduction of the new law, the farmers feel that the mandi system will gradually end and it will leave them at the mercy of the corporates. Also, the farmers feel that the new setup will end their relationships with the middlemen. Under this entire APMC setup, the farmers feel secured as the middlemen and the other setup seems approachable and within the reach of the farmers. In comparison to APMC, the entire new setup is unknown, of course, and seems unapproachable to the farmers, uh, leading to more of fear in their minds. The second law is on price assurance and farm services, called as Mulya Ashvasan and Krishi Seva Adhiniyam. I feel this is a good and safe arrangement to get into, as this ensures that the farmer will get this fixed price for sure against his crop. The only scenario wherein the farmer would have compromised on his profit will be the case wherein the price of the cotton crop has gone up in the market as compared to the price that he agreed with the buyer. Again, under this law, any unresolved dispute between the two parties will be taken to the sub-divisional magistrate. The third law is about essential commodities, also called as Avashyak Vastu Adhiniyam. It amends the Essential Commodities Act, which was laid in the year 1955. This law removes the products or the foodstuffs like potatoes, onions, oils, cereals, and oil seeds from the list of essential commodities. In a normal scenario, it also removes the stock holding limits on these food items. Stock limits on these food items only will be applicable in special circumstances like a price rise, a natural calamity, or a famine, and so on. Who can hold these stocks? So, any person who might be involved in either the production, storage, packaging, processing, distribution, or transport of these products will be allowed to hold these stocks. Me, this law seems unfavorable not only for the farmers but also the common man. We all understand that farmers would not have enough facilities to maintain such big stocks. These bills have been brought by the government in September 2020, against which the farmers started their protest in November, on 26th November 2020. It has been 43 days that the farmers have been out on the roads in this chilling cold. In these 43 days, the farmer leaders have reported the deaths of up to 50 farmers so far. 7 rounds of conversations have happened, and today is the eighth round. Till now, we have not had any common consensus between the two parties. We all have seen that the count of supporters to the farmers' protest has been enormous inside and outside the country both. Against this, the Government of India has received support from 866 academicians in January this year, from different universities like Delhi University, Jawaharlal Nehru University, and other state universities. I feel we can come to a common consensus on this protest if both the parties start to focus on what is right rather than who is right. And as I mentioned, that the current government is not solely responsible for the prevailing condition of agriculture in the country. But having said that, the important fact here is that the future of agriculture in India is in the hands of the ruling party. If they have not had a chance so far to make a favorable impact, this is their chance to make that favorable impact. But remember that this can't be done without the trust of farmers. I'm not doing this video here as I am either from a political party or I have an agricultural background. I'm just here as a responsible citizen of India. Do share your thoughts, your views, your comments about this video, your viewpoint, your observations so far of the situation. That's all from my side. Thank you for watching. I'm Tanu Ganesh signing off from my bin. Thank you.